Welcome to the Empowerment Hour. It is 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and you're tuned into the Kofifi FM 97.2. We are diving into Nurses Day, International Nurses Day, where we are focusing and diving into nurses within the special needs schools. My name is Matemo Rikotso, and you're tuned in to the Empowerment Hour. Welcome to the Empowerment Hour, and we are tuned into the 97.2 Kofifi FM. It is 1 p.m. and today we're discussing Nurses Day. I'm joined in by Wandile Ntlabati, our guest today. My brother, welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for having us. My name is Wandile Ntlabati. I'm a professional nurse employed by the Department of Education in Gauteng. So I work at an Elson school. My school is Dr. Mary Mahlela Special School. It's in Dobsonville. It's an ISD school. We deal with kids with severe intellectual disabilities. So I'm like I said, I'm a professional nurse. I'm a third year law student. I think that would be it.
So with the profession heavily dominated by females, because of when I look at the stats, it says it's between 91 and 96% of females dominating the profession. How did you become a male nurse?
Honestly, it was by accident. I'm not going to lie. Being a nurse for me was by accident. I would have wanted to be a journalist to begin with. But then I had to. I then changed because I wanted to do a profession that would give me a job. That's how I got into nursing, and obviously going through the whole thing of 4 years studying community service, working in these communities, then your love for nursing grows. I don't think you can ever qualify to be a nurse and still not be sure that you want to be a nurse. So of course, I got here I would say by accident, but I belong here. I'm a nurse, and I feel like there's a role that government has to play to make nursing look like a pleasant cause to males.
Yes.
I think females, I don't want to start an argument about this, but even females themselves will tell you that if they ever went to a public institution or private or whatever, they would tell you that the treatment that you get from a nurse, from a male nurse, usually it's very pleasant, and I would really hope and think, and with all these organizations that we work for, that our government actually does put in funds and education into nursing to make it look more accessible, more affordable, more pleasant for men to have. I think it's just a role that we all have to play to kind of like change the statistic with all these organizations, unions, professional bodies, to make sure that nursing does look pleasant to males, and there's more males in the sector because they actually need it.
Sure. It seems as if there's still a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of work to be done because I think if you think about it right now, unions will say this. Look at the unemployment rate. But I'm just saying that because unions actually do talk about this. There's a huge gap when it comes to either taking them to school, taking the nurses that are already nurses to school, or getting a lot of kids from matric to kind of like do nursing, and even when the nurses have qualified, to actually employ them. Not to have the situation that you have in South Africa right now, when a lot of nurses are under labor brokers, where they have to work, half of their salaries are taken by their employer because they're not even fully employed. They don't have any benefits, they don't have pension and nothing. Because now it's a thing of the fact that government is not hiring nurses. Then it opens up that gap for labor brokers to come in and actually abuse the situation and find people that have worked for an institution or a hospital for 10 years, but they're not fully employed.
Sure.
So I think
it's a real struggle.
I think it's a real struggle, and there's a huge role for government to play then.
Sure. But given that you say you are a law student, it means that you still have a huge responsibility to really advocate for male nurses at least to be seen, or to at least level the playing field, whereby we have that thing of a balanced equation between male nurses and it might even take like many years, because of at this point it's only about 4 to 6%. The stat says 4 to 6% male nurses that are there currently.
Yeah, it will take a little bit of time, and I think it helps us. It's something that we always say to nurses, to people that are in this profession, to say, don't stop going to school. If you want to do law, go to law. If you want to do your masters, go to your masters. Because at the end of the day, we need to have that level of research in nursing to understand the type of work that needs to be done. So it will take a long time, but I think with a lot of education, with a lot of all the stakeholders that we have, from unions to professional bodies, working together, I think there's a path that we can walk, and I think it will take however long it's going to take there, but we can walk that distance.
Yeah, but it will be a journey 100%. That is worth it, because of now. In the near future, it's going to be a huge crisis, because of in the near future the industry will be female dominated, and there won't be even one nurse there.
I think the health sector in South Africa is already in a crisis. I think it's just a lot of layers. If you peel back, you realize that more than just having this ratio of females to males, but also then the ratio in all these public institutions of patient nurse to patient ratio. So I think we're already in a crisis in a way. I think we actually trading on thin ice right now. So it's just I think you wish that the powers that be actually go as far as kind of like trying to sort the problem before it gets worse than it's already.
We need to take a little while. Everything it's still doable.
Exactly.
So tell us about your school and your role as a nurse at the school.
So as a nurse in a special school, which is different from the normal health sector, hospital, clinic setting. So what we do is we do direct care and case management. So we have learners that are on medication. We have learners that are on chronic medications also. So it's you come in the morning, you give your chronic kids medication. Kids that are coming in or kids that are already in the school, you do a lot of health screening, either for vision. Fortunately, in my school we have speech and audio therapists, so they can do hearing. So
do you have them in house?
Yes, we have them in house. Okay. So it's just a multidisciplinary team that works efficiently. We more than health screening and assessments. Then we do preventative services and education, where we can actually go as far as even doing family planning for kids, for parents that request for their kids to go through that. Emergency response. I'm the first responder at school as a healthcare worker, because I'm the only nurse employed there.
Sure.
We individualize support as well. We're going, even with the education, we go in, because in their ISPs, the teachers' ISPs, individual support plans, the nurse does get involved there. So it's a huge role that we play. And I think that would be the role of a nurse in a special school in a nutshell. Yeah.
So how is it being a nurse? Like, how does your routine looks like on a daily basis? What is how do you structure it yourself, or you have a routine that is planned ahead of time, or how does it work?
I think with the longer time you spend in a special school, that's when you have your routine structured. Because usually when you get there, for example, I was the first one to work in my special school. So when you get there, then I had to create that routine. Obviously, with the help of the SPST and a lot of other committees. So, but I think the most important thing about a nurse in a special school is that you are the health head. So it doesn't matter how many learners you have there. You are the head of the health portfolio at the school. So every consultation that needs to be done at the school, as far as that, usually it will start from the nurse, and obviously the multidisciplinary team assists a lot with them, because they have their own portfolios. But when you think about it, they all come together, and the health of the child gets prioritized.
Cool. So now, what kind of learning barriers do your learners come across at your school?
So-
and what ages do you deal with?
So the kind of learning barriers that we have ADHD, we have dyslexia, we have dysphagia, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. According to the is it differentiated curriculum assessment and policy
Yes.
statement, which DCAPS that we
Yes,
use in
DCAPS, yeah.
ISD schools.
Yeah.
There's 5 levels. So you have all ages from 5 to 18, but you have only 5 levels. So you'd have grade R being age 5, 6, and 7. And grade 1, is it 7 and 8, grade, and until grade 5.
Oh,
So
okay.
grade 3, I think it's 12 and 13, somewhere there.
Yes, yes.
Until we reach the age of 18.
Oh.
So we have all ages pretty much of school going.
Yes.
But only that the conditions also, because in my school we're dealing with epilepsy, we're dealing with ADHD, we're dealing besides the dyslexia, because those ones are curriculum related. So I think that's pretty much what we deal with. We have a sick bay that assists us with that. Fortunately enough, also we have a clinic that's close by to the school. So there's a trauma
at least you
department
have,
that we
help.
always have communication with
Yeah.
that we can take the kids to. So I think
I think
covered the question.
another thing that is assisting a lot is having a clinic nearby that you can call in once the situation gets out of hand.
Yeah.
I think you are very fortunate in that sense, because of now having a clinic nearby, even if in a community or anything, it's such some convenient thing to have.
It's very convenient. I think the only point there would be the local government to just make sure that all these health centers are well resourced.
Yes,
so that you
yes.
don't go to a clinic where there's no X-ray, or you don't have to go to a clinic where you have to always be referred to the next clinic.
Sure.
I think we're fortunate that Itureland Clinic, which
Yeah.
is our clinic that we go to,
Yeah.
it's very much resourced. If you have to be taken to Bara, then it's because that condition was overbearing on the clinic. So I think it does assist a lot. It does assist a lot, and obviously, like I'm saying, we just need to make sure that not just this clinic, but all these clinics are well resourced. It shouldn't just be about the school kids. The whole community does benefit from that.
Sure. So, as a school nurse, what role do you play in terms of the safety of the learners and the hygiene management within the school?
As far as hygiene, I think we are fortunate that, because even I think the school setting or the classroom management principle, if you think about it, they include hygiene. So it's not just the nurse that has to enforce that, because it's a lot of, I think we have a lot of kids at school. So to have the teachers enforce that, and to have the nurse come through as well, talk about infection control and how can improve the environment. And then also you have the social worker that would supply sanitary pads every now and then, and all of that. And also the fact that then you have the health and safety committee that looks into the food that's being eaten by learners, guarding against learners buying from people selling from outside, vending outside the school, which some of those foods can be dangerous. So I think it goes, the health and safety committee, which is a committee used to regulate health and safety inside schools, does work well, which I'm a part of at the school.
Oh, so you oversee most
Yes. So when it comes to health, there's a huge role that we play there. That we obviously, I think there's obviously room for improvement all the time. I wouldn't say perfect, but there's always room
because
for
of
improvement.
another thing is with our kids, we are constantly teaching them, and they are so, it's a dynamic situation whereby everything changes now with special needs.
Exactly.
You can say you have a structured plan, but you can come across something different. I think it's very important to have a structure that is set to regulate and make sure and oversee the safety and hygiene of learners.
And a structure also that is flexible. I mean, you remember we dealt with COVID in 2020.
Yes.
So we need structures of health and safety that are actually flexible, that will be ready to always suit the changing environment, in our lives, especially our professional lives, at these schools that we work at.
So with your role as the nurse at the special needs school, what has something that has been challenging, or what challenges have you faced in this journey?
I think the first thing would be that government processes,
Yeah.
they are slow. So
Sure.
implementation when it comes to government processes is always very slow. So sometimes you can actually order something this year, beginning of this year, and get it towards the end of the year. There's no, the other thing is that there's lack of development of staff. So you find that, there's actually nurses that have worked, I would even say teachers or whatever, but I'm speaking as a nurse.
Yeah.
There's nurses that have worked in a special school for over 10, 12, 15 years that have never been taken to school once. So we can't go with the primary education that we got at university or college.
Yes, because of times are changing.
Times are changing, and also you need to develop these people for them, because developing staff actually increases the standard, the quality of health. So I would say that's a problem, taking them to school. I mean, nurses that work at school should be taken to school for courses like dispensing course. There should never be a time where they miss the basic life support course, which is mandatory for all nurses in South Africa. So I think there is a lot of challenges, but I think also something that's worth pointing out is the fact that we deal with parents a lot. And I think situations that have actually created a lot of difficulty in this regard is the fact that sometimes there's a lack of participation of parents. And if you have to deal with a case where there's that situation, then you have to know that it's something that's just, there's never going to be a great result for the child. Because something that we always say is that everything that's done in this work that we do, in this Department of Education, even if you involve the nurse, is that we should always make sure that in everything that we do, we ask ourselves the question that what is the learner going to benefit? And if anything that we do doesn't benefit the learner, then it's something that really needs to be changed and looked into and improved for the sake and of the wellness and health and progress of the learner in a special school.
But if I may ask, are you getting enough support from parents, and how is the relation because of now? As the healthcare professional that are enforcing the management of safety of the learners and the health and the hygiene, in some sort we need to have consistency into whatever that is being done at school and what is being done at home. Do you get support from parents, and how is the relationship between your work and what is practiced at home? Are the parents continuing your work at home?
I think there's room for improvement. I think it would be worth saying that there's room for improvement, because I think without having to go deep into it, because at the end of the day we have to care a lot about confidentiality dealing with these things. We can't just expose cases. But I think something that I've experienced is that there's a lot of parents that are not really used to this thing of giving kids medication, making sure a kid stays in medication. There's kids that only get medication when they're at school, and they would tell you. They would tell you that I only take medication when I'm at school, which is not a good thing, because compliance to medication actually betters it's always for the betterment of the condition of the learner. So I think when it comes to working with parents, I think in our school something that's positive is that in parents' meeting, the principal would actually ensure that we actually address parents all the time. We're always there in the meetings, and if you're not in the meetings, the principal would actually scold at you, because I think she's always trying to create that situation where we don't have a gap between parents and the workers, at the school. So there's WhatsApp groups where we communicate with parents, but as long as obviously you have the principal in that group, so to just make sure that it's an official group for the school, so that it doesn't degenerate in a way. But I think we try. I think the parents try, but I think there's always those cases that are exceptional. And cases that you wish there could just be more, either social welfare interventions, medical interventions, more. It can never be enough. So I think there's always room for improvement.
So meaning that equally so as we need to empower or continuously develop our healthcare workers, we still have a duty to develop our parents, so that whatever we do at school, it's practiced at home.
Yeah, I think there's a very there's a huge space there. There's a lot of stuff that can be done there. I think it's just a matter of all stakeholders coming in and assisting. But I think there's a very huge space there. You
Yeah.
know, for resource and education. I think more can be done there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I get you. You are still tuned in to the Empowerment Hour 97.2 Kofifi FM, and we are taking break.
Hello, my name is Okena. Welcome to Culture Cup. Let me serve.
Okay, we have Ms. Tozama here, our teacher and also our HOD. So, Ms. Tozama, how do you think this impacts our kids, learners, or how does it impact the school?
It impacts our kids a lot because you find that our kids on the spectrum don't have much job opportunities or employment opportunities after school. So as Randburg Clinic School, what we are hoping for is that once we have instilled the skills within the school setting, they're able to go out into the workplace and showcase those skills that they've received from our school.
Hey, we are here with some of our SGB members. I just wanted to find out, how was your experience today at the Cozy Cup?
It was wonderful. It's a real coffee shop vibe. The kids very excited to be doing what they're doing, and it's just a pleasure dealing with them.
And your favorite meal or coffee of the day?
Well, I had the chicken wrap, and it was prepared better than some restaurants out there.
That's very good to hear.
That was awesome.
And what about you, sir?
Well, I'll tell you, I think I've been looking forward to this moment, counting down with the rest of the school. And just walking into the cafe, seeing the children, the reception from the kids was just priceless. I think for me, the way they were coming around, taking their orders, coming back to the tables to check if everyone was fine, is like, okay, I'm getting a real experience. All I said to myself was, you know what? We need to take this out of the school and put it out to the world. The rest of people need to see what our children are doing. I think for me, it gives so much hope to parents to say, your kids, they can do a lot post their school life. Because you sit here, you're like, this is an opportunity. Your kids can do something else. They're just like any other child. So I think it's something that gives so much hope to the people. I think we all left with warm hearts. We even said, you could even you want to pay more for the same cup of coffee just because of the experience that it gives you. So I think for me, we want to say thank you to the school. The work that they're doing with our children, it's priceless. We can never get it anywhere. Looking forward to coming back again, having the sessions, and just enjoying the vibe.
Thank you for coming to our big opening of Cozy Cup. So, how was your experience? And out of 10, how much would you rate your experience?
Oh, thank you. It was such a wonderful experience. The kids were amazing. The way they take the order, the way they bring the order, it was amazing. The vibe in the Cozy Cup was great. And out of 10, I would give it 9.5. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fair.
Thank you.
Your name is?
My name is Wanda Moran.
Nice to meet you, Wanda. Are you excited to be here today?
Yeah, we actually live across the road and we just always been sort of, just new to the neighborhood. So it's always nice to come and see what happens.
Wow, thank you so much. And what are you looking forward to seeing at the Cozy Cup today?
I definitely want something warm to drink.
Yes.
I think I saw some muffins on the menu.
Yes.
But yeah, just more excited to see what the students are doing and how excited they are, starting an into practice. So it's exciting to let the youth know that it's back and support the milestone.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks, Zane.
So, we have our principal here. So, as a principal, how do you feel about this special grand opening of the Cozy Cup?
My principal, how do you feel about this?
That is amazing.
It's amazing.
Very
It
amazing.
speaks for me, and that is exactly how we feel about this thing, okay? Because if they are happy, we are all happy. This is the purpose why we are here and why we are doing what we are doing, right?
Yes.
Because one day Maria's going to own her own coffee shop and make millions.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to the Empowerment Hour, 97.2 Kofifi FM. And I'm still with Mr. Wandile Nhlabati. So we have been discussing being a nurse at a special needs school. Mr. Wandile, even more interesting, I see that you are the president of the South African Special School Nurses Organization. Can you tell us more about the organization and what is the role of the organization?
So I'm the president of the of SASNO, we call it SASNO, the South African Special School Nurses Organization, elected last year in a congress that we had in Polokwane in early October. So SASNO, I would say, is an NPO, fully registered with the Department of Social Development.
Yes.
We an advocacy organization for nurses that work in special schools. I think the vacuum was created when you had nurses that left, that were taken out of the health sector to the education sector. So now you have nurses that are in their special school without anyone looking after them. So if you talk about unions, you talk about SATU.
Yeah.
If you talk about professional bodies, you talk about SENAS and all these other professional bodies. But there's no one that's actually, there's no structure. In a way, there's no structure for nurses in special schools that we're still trying to work on. So I think the existence of SASNO comes from that grievances, needs and all of that for nurses in special schools are not taken care of. And then there had to be this organization called SASNO that comes in to fill that gap, because nature doesn't allow a vacuum. So that's
yes. Because of another thing I'm thinking of now is what the nurse, let's say our local clinic, what a nurse could go through in a local clinic, and compared to a nurse what they can go through in a special schools, two different things. So even if their needs or their challenges, they're not the same.
They're not the same. And also the way that we have our system structure to address those challenges is not the same. For example, like it's difficult to see DINOSA teaching, kind of like advocating for nurses in special schools. I don't even think they've thought much about it, even if they know about it, So it's something that nurses in special schools, the founders of this organization, the older senior nurses that found this organization thought of, and came with this great idea that to this day we'll always be grateful to them as founders and seniors, because I think if we didn't find this organization, that it would mean nurses in special schools are just lost kids. Step kids in the education system,
in the system.
And no one advocating for them. So we're talking to all these other organizations that are supposed to assist us in our endeavors to kind of like just get the conversation started to say, yes, we see you helping us with this. Yes, we see some provinces are getting dispensing certificates, some courses are getting some provinces are getting PLS. But how about we create a structure that's going to benefit even the nurses in Northern Cape, that their schools, I think we have like 10 schools there. So it's difficult to actually go out and be heard enough if you're doing it per single school or per province. Because now if you come together, then it makes your voices much bigger and it professionalizes the conversation more.
So what is your role as the president of the SASNO?
I think the role of the president obviously is to be the executive leader, driving the strategic objectives of the organization as outlined in our constitution. We right now creating founding documents, and we're formalizing. We're not creating them, because I think the leaders that came before us did have all this knowledge. So we're formalizing. So right now we're formalizing the organization. We're trying to make sure that I think something that the process that we actually going and right now, it's we're getting through that phase of applying for recognition by the Department of Education. Which is a longer process than any of these other processes. Which also it assists us in these conversations, in this fight. I think something that is worth mentioning also is the fact that SASNO is not a protest organization. It's not a political kind of formation. It's just a professional body. So that's what we're actually getting into now, to say, recognize us as a professional body. So as a president, it's just to, right now, I think the mandate that we have right now with the NEC that we were elected with is to just formalize the organization, get all documents proper, get all our accounts vetted, our bank accounts probably audited, just meet all compliance levels that are needed for a professional body. So that's where we are now, and that's where we're trying to go. So it's an organization that's been here for some time, but because of a lot of hindrances, constraints, and all of that, and backlogs of things, I think we have that mandate now as this leadership to make sure that by the time our trace is over, then we should have achieved that. And I think as the president, that's the strategic goal that we put in place. I'm put in place to achieve with the top 5 that I'm with and the NEC.
So how long has the organization been around for?
I think the senior nurses that have been there have told us that it's been in existence for close to 30 years now. But obviously, when it starts, when this organization starts, they don't start on that level. So they start at a point of just nurses meeting, excursions, meetings in service, and then a congress at one time. But we haven't had, for example, national congresses for far too long. So it's an organization that still needs some working, on to it. But I really believe I would say our former leaders have left us a great organization that we just need to add a lot of meat to it. And I think we should be okay. I feel like we're already okay. It's just a matter of once you even reach those compliance levels, there's still a lot of work to put in to just remain there. So we still have to put a lot of work in the provinces, but I feel like as national at this point, the work that we embarking on, it should be enough in 3 years to say the organization is fully compliant and it has all its registrations and all nurses that are in special schools are covered. Because I think that's the other thing. We haven't been able to reach all nurses in South Africa in special schools. But that's what we're trying to get to. And I believe that we should be there. In a space of 2 years, we should have made sure that we've touched every school.
So with that said, is all of the nurses working in special schools affiliated with this organization, or is it still something that you are working on?
It's not, because at the end of the day, SASNO is a voluntary organization. So there would still be either SGPs or principals that don't feel like joining the organization. But I think it's our job to continuously persuade them. So we're planning to send letters, membership fees, letters to schools. We're in conversation with SANASE, the organization of principals and SGPs. We're in conversation with SATU. I just spoke to the Secretary General of SATU a couple of weeks back. We're trying to get to a point where the stakeholders that we have in education welcome us, support us. And when we actually communicate to schools, then it's easy for us to get the message through. And it's easy for us to get what we need, because we're not just here for fun,
Of course.
We're here because nurses need a voice. So, I would say that I think a lot of principals have been receptive to this idea, and we still obviously have a long way to go. We still have a lot of work to do. It will never stop. So, but I think it's something that we're working on. And before then, when we go to Congress this year, we should have contacted more than the percentage of schools that should have been contacted should be very high. And I'm convinced that it's something that it shouldn't be difficult.
Of course. So now, for our listeners or our audience that are watching, how can they join SASNO?
I think we now have the contact details of most schools in Gauteng. I think we just received the list of Gauteng, KZN, Mpumalanga. We're talking to the Northern Cape. We're speaking to Limpopo. We're speaking to Free State and I think, did I mention Northwest? So we're just trying to cover all schools. So I think they can obviously contact us they can just contact my cell number or the Secretary General. I think the numbers will put them on the broadcast. And but also they can contact SASNO President at gmail.com. It can also be 063-244-912, 063-244-912. I think just to make sure that people that are really desperate to contact us do, but also we will try our best to reach them. So I think that should be sufficient.
Okay. So just to go back, I know we've touched on this. how do you see the importance or the role of parents playing in supporting your work?
I think parental participation, even going as far as academics, because now, we have to take our clinical experience, expertise all the time and apply it to education. So I think even as far as academics, curriculums, without parental support, it's really bad. It's really bad. But also you find that these kids come from homes that generally a person would say broken home. You try to get the guardian of the parent. You find that it's a father that the father is in jail. You find that the mother is on drugs. Or it's situations that are very difficult. But I think, like I said, we just need to have a lot of work put into it as far as from the government side, from the parent side, from the family side. There's a lot of social welfare programs that can be implemented, So I think there's still a lot of work. I think if there's a gap when it comes to education, if you forget about the government and all the other works that go into it, I think we need to strengthen parental participation. Because without parental participation, everything that you do just ends by the time that you're done with it. You need a parent to make sure that a child does homework. You need a parent to make sure that a child who's ill is taken to the clinic. You need a parent to exactly. You need a parent to make sure that a child is compliant with medication. Simple things like that. So it's a very heavy element of what we do. Parental participation. So it's something that we always talk about in meetings, parent meetings, and I think we should go as far as community meetings. And if we know that a child is lacking on that regard, doesn't have that support, that we should come through. I think we should come through and talk about those things, and the departments that are responsible for that, government departments should actually put in this mind that should be put there, and that those efforts should be supported just for the betterment of the situation of the learner.
Because at the end of the day, access to information, it betters the whole...
It betters, there's a lot of situations where a child didn't succeed just because they didn't have a guardian at home, they didn't have a person that was exactly access to that, parent, access to that guardianship. So I think it's something that covers a lot, especially with a child growing up.
Sure. With support of Nurses Day, how can those watching or listening join you in the incredible work you are doing? Nurses Day in our organization, we celebrate it as far as like provincially. Yes. So I know that the province of the Northwest has something planned. I know that the Gauteng province has something planned. I know that Limpopo province has something planned. It's just something that needs more work put into it. It's some of the programs are new programs that we're doing. Yes. But I think it would be some message to put out there to say nurses should always observe Nurses Day. I think the country should observe Nurses Day. It's I think we're a very huge element of the health system. So I think it's something that needs to be observed more. Something that school nurses need to make sure that if at your school you observe it in a way that they recognize your importance as the nurse. Because other than if we don't do that, there's no one who's going to recognize this work that we do other than us. Thank you so much. But I must say I'm very proud of you, and being a male nurse representing us in the industry, and I'm wishing you all the best in your journey as the president of SASNO, and may it grow and reach milestones and really empower our society and other nurses. May it be the voice of other nurses that are in the special needs schools.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching the Empowerment Hour, and you are tuned in to the 97.2. This was the Nurses Day. Thank you.